Hey, what's up? So, I just want to tell you that it's okay to get less competitive in your 30s. And I'm not telling you to get less competitive. I'm not telling you to give up on your goals or anything like that. I'm just telling you that it's okay. And I think there's a lot of content out there directed at young men these days. It's always like, hey, if you're not making this much money, if you're not a millionaire by this age, if you're not fucking bitches, whatever, whatever, then you're not a real man, right? And I'm just saying, like, hey, you know what? If you just want to calm down a little bit, it's chill. Like, don't worry about it. And I'll kind of walk you through my reasoning here. But if you think about what your life was like when you're in your 20s, like if you're a 22-year-old just graduating from college, it's a very stressful time because of a lot of reasons. Number one is like you don't really know who you are as a person yet, right? You're still trying to figure that out. You're also learning just basic life skills still, right? There's a lot of things that you thought you knew that you didn't know, like you know how do you how do you cook tuna, or like how do you fix a toilet, how do you do drywall, how do you buy a car. Like there's a lot of things that are really basic but you don't know how to do anything yet, right? There's also really big life altering decisions, at least at the time in your head you think you're making. Say, if I do this could affect the rest of my life, and some of that might be true, like moving somewhere or getting a new job. Like those are big decisions you have to make. At this point in your life too, if you think about it, it's like the first time you start paying for things that isn't stuff you want. So like you gotta pay for a dentist bill, or you gotta pay for health insurance, you gotta pay for, you know, um, you know, new tires on your cars. There's like all these things you gotta pay for that you never accounted for, right? Or water bill, whatever. I think this is the first time where it actually hits you like how big taxes are and how much taxes cost. And then money starts becoming like super important where it wasn't as important before when you're in college, right? Just for example, it's like if you're a 22-year-old cool guy who's in college, like you can probably get girls, right? But then if you're a 23-year-old cool guy who's not working, it's gonna be hard for you to get girls. Like that standard just changed real quick on you. So your desire to find a job and to have good income becomes super important. And it's also a tough time because you still don't know what you want to do yet. And this decision is like life impacting, right? In your mind. And also, it's like this year is like the culmination of the last 16 years of school, and this is the year to figure out whether or not you're actually able to amount to anything. So it's like your entire self worth is like tied into this job that you're trying to find. So at this stage in your life, it actually is really easy to start comparing yourself to others, because everyone kind of is in the same position. Everyone that you know is like we just all graduated from college. We're all kind of competing in the job market. Everyone kind of talks about everyone else, so we kind of have an idea where everyone is, and it's really important for you to look good in front of your peers. Looking good in front of your peers is really important right now. And what happens is you start comparing, your situation with other situations, and lo and behold, that always leads to huge unhappiness because you can always compare to someone better, right? Even if you are at the top of your class or whatever, there's always someone better than you, and you can always look higher. And then if you're always comparing your situation to theirs, then that will definitely lead to unhappiness. So that's why I'm saying, like, in your 20s, it's a very stressful time. Looking back on it now as someone in their 30s and looking back on it, like, it's actually not that stressful from my point of view here. But as you're going through it, I can totally agree. When you're in your 20s, it's a really stressful time. So why am I saying it's okay to get less competitive in your 30s? Is because in your 30s, you start having a little bit of a wider worldview. You have a better grasp on how the world works. And the big thing that I think you start realizing is that there's a trade off to everything. So everything that you wanted before, you might still want it now, but now you're aware of the trades you need to make to get there. And because of those trades you need to make, it might not be that appealing anymore. You might start also noticing that there's things that you didn't care about before that you start caring for now. And you're not willing to trade money for it. Like, for example, comfort or a commute or something like that. So certain things just become less important while other things become more important. So once you start noticing this, you actually automatically start comparing as much because you're no longer just comparing on one thing. You're actually able to factor in other things as well. So, for example, if I'm envious of my peer who has this nice job and nice house, I don't only think about the nice job and nice house I don't have. I also think about the stuff that I don't have to do that he has to do, right? So it's a more fair comparison. And if I value these things that I don't have to do, and he's fine with doing those things, then he's willing to make the trade and I'm not, and I can be fine with it. I can be okay with it without having to be competitive and try to compare myself to him, right? And I also think at this age you start to care less about what other people think to a degree. People still care at this age what people think. I think people will always care what people think, but I think they start caring a little bit less than they did 10 years ago. And by doing so, you're able to kind of let go of that social pressure on, things that you thought that you were supposed to achieve based on what other people think. And the faster you're able to do that, the quicker you can get to doing what you want in order to be happy. So I think it's really important. And I made this video saying, you start doing this in your 30s. I'm not saying that you should wait till your 30s to start doing this. I think you start doing it now, which is start really thinking about what you value and don't forget it. So if I value time or if I value, relationships or whatever, then perhaps I should base my actions around that and not really around money or whatever else that I thought was important to me in my 20s. So, yeah, hope this video is helpful. See you next one. Thanks.